As they entered the small cottage in the swamp, Foster and Hamilton quickly noted that, as far as appearance goes, it resembled much that of a normal quaint home. Aside from the massive size differential in all of the things that they would find there, they found little difference between this and a normal house. There was, of course, a kitchen with a quaint little table. Well, at least little by the figure's standards. To Hamilton and Foster, it was massive. There was a stove complete with a fireplace attached to the chimney that extended from the home. Something that smelled much like a stew brewing on the fire. A fairly spacious living room area in which there seemed to be a very large rocking chair. Once again, seeming normal in appearance, yet immense in proportion, with a comfortable padded seat and back.
Welcome to my home, little ones. It has been a long time since I received visitors,
the figure said as she stepped towards the rocking chair in the center of the living area, beginning to take a seat within it. Her extraordinarily long legs protruding from the cloak that she wore over most of her body, taking a gentle seat within the massive chair, and beginning to, oh so gently, rock back and forth. Pinky quickly ran to the side of this chair, taking a seat out of the way, looking back and forth between Foster and Hamilton and the hag, who seemed to be comfortably sitting, arms resting on the armrests of the chair.
So, what is it that brings you? What do you wish of me?
Well, Miss Hag? I'm sorry, if that's not your name, I can call you by that if you wish.
The Hag will be fine. I had a name once. I think it started with an M. But silly me, I just can't remember it anymore. It appears to have slipped away in my old age. Madeline, perhaps. Mira? McCary? No, that doesn't seem right,
she said, rocking back and forth in her chair. Well, my name is Foster. This gentleman accompanying me is Hamilton. We're here because, well, we need to find someone. Heck, if you can manage it, teleport us to them or something. It's very important that we find this person quickly, as quickly as possible. So we are wondering if it was possible for you to do that, find someone, and send us to them, if possible. And what that would cost, Foster said, trying to maintain a very polite exterior, whilst Hamilton remained silent, for the time being, simply observing the interaction.
Well, let's not get in too much of a rush. I'm an old lady, you know. I like to take my time. And let's not try to settle a price so quickly, because the price can always change, depending on how I feel.
What? Foster replied, seeming a bit frightened.
Oh, it's really nothing to worry about, dearie,
the figure replied, extending her hand out somewhat with a slight gesture.
It just means that it really depends on you, what the cost is. I'm, well, what you might call whimsical,
she said, with a small chuckle in her voice.
In my old age, I have gotten Oh, so tired of doing business the same way, always requesting the same things, when all of it really amounts to nothing. I don't really need anything living out here. The swamp provides all that I need to sustain my existence. So truth be told, I don't really need anything from anyone. These deals have become more of a source of entertainment, a way for an old lady to pass the time and have some company, as it were, she said, still gently rocking in her massive chair. So, the price really depends on you, and how I feel about you. I have to get to know you a bit, which will help me decide what the price will be for your request. There are some from which I ask nothing at all. I simply grant their request, and they pay me nothing in exchange. And others, she said, leaning forward very slowly, are forced to pay a price equal or even greater to that which they request of me, because I found them displeasing. I hope you're not displeasing. Are you, young lady? She said, peering down towards Fosta, those eyes glowing out. No, ma'am. I absolutely do not want to be displeasing in any way. We just want something. We're not against a fair price, and we most definitely don't want to cause you any trouble, Fosta said, with a bit of fear and hesitation in her voice. Yes, but what about your friend there? He seems awfully quiet. Nothing to say. It's unpolite not to speak when you're a guest, she said, turning the hood in the direction of Hamilton, the glowing eyes now peering down at him. Hamilton adjusted his glasses once more, peering up at the figure, once again seeming unfazed, the same emotionless expression pasted on his face, as he always had. Well, quite simply, it's as she says. We're here for information, and possibly transportation, should you be able to manage it. I am of course willing to pay a price if necessary, so long as the price is fair, or acceptable, you might say. Acceptable, the hag replied, still glaring down at Hamilton. Such a funny word, acceptable. You know, there are many who find very unacceptable things quite acceptable given certain situations. There are those that would give the beating heart from their chest in order to save the life of another. Those that would gouge the eyes from their head should it grant them the wealth they desire. Unacceptable is a matter of perspective and desire. Should your desire be strong enough, there is no such thing as unacceptable, she said as the glow in her eyes intensified, staring down at Hamilton. He cocked his head for a moment, looking back up. The intensity of the figure standing over him seemed to still not faze him. He was unshaken at all. Well, you are a wise woman. You seem to have caught me in a misstatement. Or perhaps more aptly, an incomplete statement, not thought about as well as it should have been. It's been so long since I've had an intelligent person to conversate with. It's not often people catch me in verbal slips, but thank you for calling me. I do appreciate when people point out my flaws. It allows me to fix them. So, I am much obliged, madam. Grateful for your aid.
and of course impressed with your wisdom and insight. Yes, given the situation, some would trade basically anything. So, saying something is an acceptable arrangement isn't quite accurate. It would be more apt to say acceptable given the situation. Acceptable in terms of what I'm willing to give, perhaps.
Yes,
the figure replied, beginning to lean back into their seat.
You're a sharp one, aren't you? Very intelligent, and well composed as well. You sensed negative intent towards you, and immediately acted to abate it. I could feel the change in your energy. There was even a part of you that was prepared to kill in that moment, but elected to find a peaceful solution, to abate my distaste for the statement. So you have a great deal of control and wisdom, tact within your actions. Yes, compared to you, your comrade here is far less experienced. Her beauty aside, she seems more of a blunt instrument. She knows how to play the cards she's dealt, as well as anyone might, and doesn't try to overextend her reach. Far less controlled than you, but also far more honest in a certain light. Much easier to read than you,
she said, returning back to looking at Foster.
Yes, you're a quite interesting pair, aren't you? What kind of task would bring such different individuals together, might I ask?
The figure said as she leaned back in her seat, beginning to rock once more. Well, normally I would say that I already told you, Hamilton replied. But I'm smart enough to know that you want an answer besides that. You want specifics, right? Why it's important for me to find this person. Well, I suppose there's no problem in telling you. As far as Foster is concerned, I simply hired her to help guide me. This isn't my world of origin, and I haven't been here before. So having someone who knows the world, the surroundings, the lay of the land and the people in it, would be greatly beneficial. So I hired the most capable person that I could find for the job. She came very highly recommended. As far as myself, I'm doing this because I owe my friend a great debt. A very long time ago, he helped protect something that was very precious to me. Something that I would have given my life to defend, and most likely would have, were it not for his intervention. He has saved me on numerous accounts since then, and despite my own efforts, I have never been able to truly repay the debt in full. He, of course, is overly honest, sincere, and doesn't really request anything. Regardless of how many times I say I owe him a debt, he always simply says I owe him nothing, which only makes me want to repay it all the more, because he is a man who is truly worthy of being respected, of honored, of having the favor that he grants to others returned fairly in exchange. And now I have been given an opportunity to give to him something that is precious, something that he values, enough so that his own life would seem meaningless in comparison. And so, in order to honor what he has done for me, to repay the debt that was given, it is my intention to find this person that we search for and return them to him. So, is this level of information sufficient? Hamilton said, calmly looking towards the large figure, rocking back and forth in her chair.